Most people believe growth requires perfect conditions, but some of the strongest lives begin in the worst places imaginable, where light is scarce and pressure feels unbearable. One day, a tiny seed fell onto hard ground and disappeared into a narrow crack beneath a heavy stone. No one expected anything to grow from. The stone above it was cold, immovable, and silent, pressing down on the small seed as if the world itself had already decided its fate. If someone had seen that moment, they would have quietly assumed the seed story ended before it even had a chance to begin. But the strange truth about life is that sometimes the place that looks like your prison is secretly preparing to become your greatest training ground. And what that seed did next contains a lesson that many hardworking people never realize, even after decades of struggle and effort. Because the difference between those who break under pressure and those who grow stronger from it often begins with a single decision. Not a loud, heroic decision that changes everything overnight, but a quiet choice made in darkness when no one is watching. A decision to grow anyway. Imagine being that small seed trapped under a rock, heavier than anything you could ever move. Above you, there is almost no sunlight. Around you, the soil is dry and stubborn. Every direction feels blocked by something stronger than you. Most people in life feel this same invisible weight. Maybe it is a family that never believed in them. Maybe it is financial pressure that forces them to work endless hours just to survive. Maybe it is self-doubt, whispering every morning that they are not talented enough, smart enough, or lucky enough to succeed. The truth is that many people never fail because they lack ability. They fail because they assume their starting conditions determine their ending. The seed under the rock could have believed the same story. It could have waited for the stone to magically disappear. It could have remained still, hoping the world would become kinder. But nature rarely rewards waiting. Growth begins the moment something chooses to push. Inside the seed, something remarkable began to happen. A tiny root slowly stretched downward, searching for water hidden deep in the soil. At the same time, a fragile sprout started pushing upward toward the faint warmth it could barely feel through the stone. The seed did not try to move the rock. That would have been impossible. Instead, it focused on the only thing within its control, growing 1 millimeter at a time. This is where many people misunderstand progress in life. They think success requires dramatic breakthroughs, but real transformation usually looks incredibly small in the beginning. 1 new habit, 1 extra hour of learning, 1 uncomfortable conversation, 1 attempt that feels almost pointless. Most people stop here because they cannot see visible results yet. But the seed kept growing, even though nothing above the surface had changed. Day after day, the pressure remained the same. The rock did not move. The darkness did not disappear. Yet beneath that stone, something powerful was slowly developing. Roots. Roots are invisible. No one applauds them. No one notices them. But they determine everything that comes later, because the harder the soil, the stronger the roots must become to survive. The seed under the rock faced resistance from every direction, so its roots spread deeper and wider than the seeds growing freely in soft, open ground. While other plants enjoyed easy sunlight, this one learned endurance. While others relied on comfortable conditions, this one built strength underground. Life works the same way. The people who grow up with the least advantages often develop abilities others never need to learn. Patience, resilience, creative problem solving, emotional toughness. These qualities are rarely built in comfort. They are built under pressure. The same pressure most people spend their lives trying to escape. Weeks passed. Then months. Still, the rock remained above the seed. But something subtle had started to change. The sprout kept pushing upward every single day. Not violently, not dramatically, just steadily. and eventually the sprout reached the narrow edge of the stone where a thin line of sunlight touched the ground. That tiny opening was enough. The moment the sprout felt real sunlight for the first time, its growth accelerated. Leaves appeared. Energy surged. The small plant that once struggled in darkness suddenly began expanding rapidly. And then something incredible happened. The roots beneath the soil had grown so strong that they slowly began lifting the stone itself, not by force, but by persistence. Little by little, the rock shifted, a fraction of a millimeter at a time, until one day the stone that once seemed impossible to move tilted slightly to the side, and sunlight poured in. From the outside, it looked like the plant had magically lifted a heavy rock, but the real work had been happening invisibly for months underground. This is the part of success people rarely see. They see someone become successful and assume the change happened quickly. They see the business that suddenly grows, the creator whose channel explodes, the athlete who wins championships. But what they do not see are the roots, the years of quiet effort, the small habits repeated every day, the moments when progress felt invisible, the pressure that forced that person to become stronger than their circumstances. The rock was never just an obstacle. It was the very reason the plant became powerful enough to move it. Think about the challenges currently sitting in your life, like heavy stones, a difficult job, financial struggles, fear of starting something new, a lack of confidence that keeps you playing small. At first, these problems feel like barriers. They seem unfair. They seem heavy. They seem permanent. But what if the pressure you are experiencing right now is secretly developing your roots? What if the difficult environment you are in is teaching you strength that others will never have? What if the reason your path feels harder is because it is preparing you to grow in ways others cannot? The seed never complained about the rock. It simply kept growing. And eventually the rock became proof of its strength. There are 3 practical lessons hidden inside this simple story. First, focus on what you can grow today instead of what you cannot change yet. The seed could not move the rock immediately, but it could grow deeper roots every single day. Second, respect the invisible phase of progress. Just because the world cannot see your improvement does not mean it is not happening. Some of the most important growth in life happens underground before results appear. Third, understand that pressure can become power. Challenges that seem unfair often build the exact skills needed to succeed later. Many strong people were once seeds under heavy stones. The difference is, they did not stop growing. Years later, the small plant that once struggled beneath the rock had become a tall tree, standing proudly in the open sunlight. The stone still lay nearby, half buried in the soil. No longer a prison, but a reminder that strength is not built in easy places. It is built where growth feels impossible. Somewhere right now, another seed has fallen into a difficult place. Maybe that seed is a dream you have been afraid to pursue. Maybe it is a new habit you keep delaying. Maybe it is the version of yourself you secretly want to become. And like the seed under the rock, you might feel pressure before you ever see sunlight. But remember this simple truth: the rock above you might not be blocking your future. It might be building the roots strong enough to lift it. So today, grow 1 millimeter. Tomorrow, grow another. Because the world often changes not when the rock moves first. When the seed decides to keep growing anyway,